Hey folks, this is Picohan from the North American server, and today's replay is of the Leander. The map is Shards, the game mode is Domination, and a shout out to Bremen in the Molotov and Mr. Sharkswith in the Queen Elizabeth. So, the Leander is a pretty big upgrade over the Emerald, especially in gunpowder. Nominally, it only has one more barrel than the Emerald, but because they are turreted and centerline, it means that usually you can have a third more firepower in any given direction. It also has better stealth, and this is base stealth and firing from smoke stealth, which is pretty important for the British cruisers to really dim out the smoke. For that, what you do lose is you lose the torpedoes, but it's not like those were all that practical in the first place on the Emerald. So in this game, I make a mistake at the beginning here. You'll see that there's no destroyer on either side, so I thought, oh, maybe I can go into the A cap and pick it up, but without any support, I didn't like the positioning. And so I kind of skirted the A cap and went back to B, where hopefully I could get some spotting. The problem with the British cruisers is that because you rely on your smoke, you really need other people to spot for you. You can't really do anything by yourself. Coming out of the channel here at the end, what I probably should have done was hug the big island on my left and drop off until I could find a good position, but instead I decided to take pot shots at the two cruisers in A, and that kept me spotted, and I finally smoked in a not particularly ideal position. Of course, since I was the only one spotting everybody, as soon as I smoke up, we lose vision. But since I'm not actually in any immediate danger now, I'm going to see if I can stay in the smoke and get some use out of it since there's still more than a minute left. So these battleships do show up at the edge of my range. They're pretty far away, so it's not really reliable to hit them, but I take some pot shots at the Caesar and at the Fiji because they're the closest things. Caesar took a blind shot maybe at me or maybe at the York behind me, but that prompts me to move around a little bit, which I should have been doing in the first place. I made this turn because when this smoke expires, I want to be going toward southwest and trying to get those battleships behind the island. I left that smoke a little bit early to try to finish off the low health cruiser in A, but in retrospect, again, that doesn't seem like it was that wise of a decision. The cruiser in A dies, though, and so here I slowed down, kind of seeing if they would push in, but it didn't look like it, so I decided to close the distance and go back to B. There's still a little bit of time before smoke comes back up, so it should be up by the time I can get into range to hit stuff again. Coming up, this is a pretty good, in theory, preemptive smoke. I'm going to be detected by the Cleveland if I round this island, but I pop the smoke, and I should have slowed down or not fired or whatever, but the Cleveland was giving a good broadside, so I fired a little bit too early. But luckily, I was already coming to a stop, and the time that I was detected was very brief. And so this is kind of a gold mine here for the British cruisers. All these battleships who are kind of broadside and relatively close, and you can really just pick and choose the best target. For cruisers, I think aiming at the waterline is still pretty good, especially for light cruisers. For battleships, you really want to go for the superstructure because you aren't going to pen anything lower. Do note that, like the British battleships, the AP for the British cruisers is short fuse, which means that for things that you would normally overpen, the British cruisers can usually get full pens, and those are like battleship superstructures and so on and so forth. Broadside American battleships are especially juicy because they have a good amount of superstructure and they're really slow. If they angle, they can mitigate some of the damage, but you can still get some damage into the superstructure as long as you keep hitting that. I threw some torps earlier in case anybody got close, but it's really just a crap shot. I probably waited a little bit too long to leave this smoke, but I felt like I could finish Colorado, and if you see, we are down a lot of ships, so we kind of have to play a little bit more aggressively. So I'm not going back to stealth. I'm going to try to keep shooting at the Colorado until we can take him out. So as long as I'm still spotted now, since there's no other easy targets to take out, I just want to keep making distance until I can drop off and reposition. I should probably have made a beeline for the island as soon as I did drop off. I don't know why I'm taking this little detour here. So I fired here before I smoked because I actually wanted to bait him into firing. I know my spotting is not very good, but if the battleship fires, it makes his detection very big, even though I'm the one in smoke. The smoke firing debuff works both ways. So now I've got a little bit of window where he's spotted, he can't see me, but I can see him for the couple of seconds where he still has his firing debuff. Once that guy drops off, I try to shoot at the other guy, but he also drops off. Again, we're not in any immediate danger, so I think we can stay in the smoke. If for some reason we do get spotted, we have a pretty easy escape route going forward. This is why you really want to always smoke up near islands. But luckily, the two battleships are respotted by someone far away, and we can keep working on them. Again, moving around a little bit, because he did try to take a blind shot, and that probably would have hit me if I hadn't pulled forward a little bit. Launched the torps at the Koenig since he was getting close. Again, didn't really expect a hit, but this time we were lucky. That being said, the Koenig is getting very close now. The smoke is running out, and now there's a very low health Fiji in front of us that we can try to take out. Once I take out the Fiji, we'll try to get behind cover. And the first salvo is a little bit off, but I think the second one will get him here. And that's a lovely citadel for the kill secure. I pull forward past this front island because I want to use shark spotting to try to work on the guys that are not this Koenig, but I see that there is an opportunity to torp him again, so I'm going to drop those there. I swing around here, apparently to drop the other set of torps, but in retrospect, this seems like not such a good idea, because I think what I want to do is try to get close to the island here and torp one of the battleships in the center. You'll see the second set wasn't necessary. Amusingly, the first set got a dev strike on the Koenig. I popped the Hydro to see if I could spot whatever it was behind this island, but then I get spotted by the other battleship down there, and I basically have to panic smoke, which is unfortunate. So I smoked up, I popped the heal since we took a lot of healable HE damage from the cruiser up there, and the Hydro does manage to pick up the New Mexico as he's trying to come around the island. I'm backing up here to close the distance while the torps are reloading, and I use the single torps because I want to try to guarantee the kill here, but the New Mexico turns in just enough such that we don't kill him. I probably shouldn't have aimed directly at the indicator, but I thought we were close enough that it wouldn't matter. And there is a high caliber, by the way. So I turn around because I don't want to get proc spotted. I wanted to keep the smoke between me and New Mexico until I could get the other torps off, but unfortunately we're plane spotted and New Mexico can shoot at us. That does give me the opportunity to unload the other side, but the New Mexico gets another salvo off and he kills us. Those last torps do kill the New Mexico, and that is a flesh wound. But as you can see, like a lot of killer games, this one is going to be a loss. So, looking at the results, this was a monster game. Like I said, it is very rare to get 10 torp hits or the high caliber in the Leander. Looking at the team score, we were the top, but honestly not by that much. Shark played a good game as well. Detail score is of course the most interesting part here. 80,000 from the main battery is already a lot for the Leander, but adding another 80,000 from the torps is really what makes this a really good game. I do believe that 164K is among the top 100 Leander games on the North American server. And that's it for Leander. Hope you have a nice day.